One of the first RTX laptops that I received for review was this device here, the Electronics Mech 17. And at the time when I got it, I didn't know the pricing, but it turns out that this is actually the cheapest RTX laptop that you can get on Amazon, and it's surprisingly good. So if you poke around on Amazon, this device has a full configurator tool. It starts at $12.99 for like an RTX 2060, and if you get an RTX 2070, it bumps it up to $15.99. But you can choose like your RAM, your drive, but more importantly, or just more uniquely, this device gives you an option to upgrade your thermal paste if you want. And I've made videos on this before, where if you repaste your laptop, you get significantly better thermal performance. But that process, the whole thing of like opening it up and repasting a laptop, is not for everyone. It's a little bit more of an advanced thing. So it's really nice to see a store just do this thing and have it available as like an option in the Amazon configuration. That's really cool. So I checked out their previous generation, so their 10 series laptop with the exact same chassis, and that thing has surprisingly good reviews. It's got a 4.5-star review with over 300 people reviewing it. Obviously they're doing something right. The laptop uses a chassis from a company called Tongfang. It's a bare bones chassis. A lot of other companies will use the same kind of chassis to sell different configurations of the device. It's a pretty well-built device. Like, it uses a plastic keyboard deck. The bottom is plastic. Everything else on this is plastic. The only thing that's aluminum is the top panel, and it feels pretty good. The durability of the device is, I would say, good. There's just no real flex on the chassis or the screen. It's just a solid kind of overall built laptop. Now, it's not super thin. It's a relatively thin 17-inch gaming device, but because it's not like ultra thin, they've designed it in a way that just makes it just more durable than a lot of super thin devices out there right now. It's easy to get into. It's just a bunch of Phillips screws, and you get access to your 2 NVMe drives, your RAM, and your standard stuff. The port selection is pretty good for a 17-inch device. You have Ethernet, SD card slot, USB-C, and a bunch of USB-A. The USB-C port does not support Thunderbolt 3, but I'm content with the port selection on this device. Okay, getting on the inside. The screen, 17-inch screen, 1080p, 144 Hertz. Now, this is a screen that I would have said was awesome 2 years ago, but in 2019, I would consider it very good. The refresh rate is fast, the colors are actually very good, and it gets pretty bright, but my issue with the screen is actually the response time. This is a panel that has a 30 millisecond response time according to the manufacturer, and when you play on a 144 Hertz refresh screen and it has a 30 millisecond response time, you do notice some ghosting. Now, this is only for fast-paced games, but I can notice a difference when I'm playing on this compared to like a 7 or 9 millisecond screen, or even like the 3 millisecond screens that you see on some higher-end gaming laptops. But it's a very, very good screen despite the slower response rate. The keyboard is also okay, so when I first opened this thing up, I was like, this keyboard looks and feels weird, but once you get used to it, it's not bad. It's a little cramped, like the layout feels a little bit weird because everything seems so boxy, but I think for most people, they'll get used to it relatively quickly, and when you do, it's great for gaming. It is a mechanical keyboard, it just doesn't feel particularly clicky or tactile. It's a pretty good keyboard overall though. The trackpad is a plastic surface. I don't love that. It feels a little bit cheap, but considering the price of this device, I'm not surprised. The tracking is fine, and it's a good size. It's just, I would like to have seen a glass surface on this. It is a Windows Precision device though, so I think most people will be okay with the trackpad. Top surface. I don't know about the long-term durability of this particular device. I've seen some soft touch materials that are cheaper, that wear down quickly, but I've also seen some stuff from Lenovo that lasts like forever. So my guess, because of the price point, my guess is that this material will kind of show wear over time, but I can't really tell, not right now. This device is running a laptop RTX 2070, and it's the regular laptop 2070, not the MaxQ version, so the performance is actually quite similar to a 2080 MaxQ. You're gonna get really good frame rates at basically any title at 1080p. It's a very powerful GPU. Now, the thermal performance on this device is also very solid. For one, it's not a super thin device, and that's why they're able to use a non-MaxQ GPU, but you also have this option of turning on the turbo mode for the fan, and it becomes significantly louder when you do, but you just get awesome thermal performance. So this is, I don't know if this fan, if the mic can pick it up, but this is what it sounds like, yeah, if it's just kind of like idling. But if you crank up the turbo fan, it's loud. The fan noise when it's playing games without turbo mode is perfectly fine. It's just that when you kick it on, it is quite audible. Okay, I'm gonna talk about, I guess, a few things that I don't like about this device. The lighting on the keyboard doesn't have great software to do it, and it doesn't get particularly bright. It does have a light strip on the front if you're into that, but overall the lighting is kind of mediocre, and the software that controls all of the fans and the lighting is also not great. I feel like it's something that is often overlooked, like a lot of companies just have software on their devices that just controls it, and you think it's like really easy to do, but clearly it's not the easiest because these guys are pretty bad at it, but it does get the job done. Now there's two other things that I really don't like about this laptop, which may or may not affect you. Okay, the first thing is the speakers. They are terrible. They're located on the bottom, so positionally they're just bad. And they also have an issue of just being really quiet. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because the hardware is poor or if the software controlling it is bad, but they're very quiet to the point where if you're just watching a YouTube video without headphones or anything like that, they don't get as loud as you need. And the other thing I don't love about this device is the battery life. It's a very small battery, 40 watt hours on a 17-inch screen. I wasn't even able to get 3 hours of battery life with the screen at 250 nits. And again, I'm not sure if this is software. I have a feeling it's a bit of both, like big screen, small battery, that's just a recipe for poor battery life. But overall, for the price, an RTX 2070 laptop for $1,600 base is, I think it's pretty decent. I actually think it's on the good side of things. One last thing to note. This device uses the same chassis as the Walmart OP gaming devices, so like the 17-inch big version of that. Now that's last year's model. They had them for, when they originally launched, they were very expensive and everyone ripped them on their price, and they dropped their price by like 40 or 50%, and they sold them out really quickly. But if Walmart decides to continue that OP gaming laptop line and they bring these RTX GPUs into those new devices with the current pricing, it seems unlikely, but if they do, that will be an amazing price. But in the meantime, these are the cheapest RTX laptops that you can get on Amazon, and they're surprisingly good for the money. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thumbs if you liked it, subs if you loved it. See you guys next time.